Hello everyone and welcome. Today I'd like to share with you one practical step that you can take to boost your credit score. Now before I begin, I just want to highlight that this is not financial advice, so don't sue me. These are just experiences that I have had and steps that I have taken in research that I have done in order to boost my own credit score. And something I do want to highlight is that you should focus on living a financially healthy lifestyle rather than just focusing on your credit score. You may already be doing this, but I have seen some people get so enthralled in the credit score that they actually make irrational financial decisions in the name of boosting their score. I think, honestly, in some of these cases, it was just an excuse to buy something on debt and then label it as a responsible decision, but in reality it wasn't at all. So I would emphasize that just living a financially healthy lifestyle will lead to a higher score. One way you can check your credit score is through Equifax, Experian, or TransUnion. You can log in and check your free credit score and monitor what are the different aspects that are impacting the score that you have. I also have the ability to check my credit score on an ongoing basis through my credit card. I use a Discover credit card and it offers the insight into my FICO credit score. You can find a credit card yourself that also offers the same ability if you'd like to be able to monitor your FICO credit score on an ongoing basis without having to log into the credit bureaus. With that, let's dive into the one way that you can really boost your credit score. Your credit score is made up by a combination of different factors. And today we're going to be looking at the amount of debt that you have, and more specifically, your credit utilization ratio. Now, before you go anywhere and you think, what the heck is this ratio? Let me explain this in plain English. If you have one credit card that has a $10,000 limit and you use $1,000 every month and you pay that off, your credit utilization is 10% because you're only using 10% of your available credit. But what happens if I have a credit card that only has a $2,000 limit and I use $1,000 every month? Technically speaking, I'm using the same dollar amount and I'm still paying it off every month, but to the credit bureau, it's showing that I'm using, in this example, 50% of my available credit. That is not good. Well, by paying off your credit card in full every month, that will have a positive impact on your score. But in reality, in this situation, from the credit bureau, it's seeing that you're using 50% of the available credit to you. And that's something that they don't want to see. It indicates to them that you're not managing your finances well, therefore needing to use 50% of your available credit. So even though dollar for dollar, you're still spending the same $1,000 every month, if you change to the perspective of the credit bureau, from what they're viewing, instead of you only using 10% of your available credit, you're using 50%. Ideally, it should be less than 30%, or 30% should be your max. So if you have a $10,000 credit card, you should really at max only be using $3,000. This is a scenario that played out for me personally where I was paying off my credit card in full every single month, but I only had one credit card and it didn't even have a very high limit. And so in my mind, I'm thinking, I'm doing a great job with my credit, I should have a high credit score. But one factor that came back on my credit report is the fact that my utilization was very high, therefore it negatively impacted my credit score. All I had to do in this example was go to my credit card company and say, can you raise the credit limit? In reality, nothing changed for me. I still paid the same amount of bills on that credit card every single month, but because my credit limit was extended, the percent that I actually use dropped significantly. Again, dollar for dollar, nothing changed, but from the perspective of the credit bureau, it thinks I'm being more responsible. So while we're talking about boosting your credit score, one way to boost the rankings of these videos is by giving them a like. And I'm serious, every time I get a thumbs up, it promotes this video to others to show that this is at least half decent content for them to see. So right now, think through all the credit cards that you have available to you and think, how much am I spending on those cards every single month? Am I paying them off in full? If so, that does have a positive impact. But if I only have a certain amount of credit limit and I'm using a significant portion of that, that could be negatively affecting your score. So if you think, okay, if the credit utilization ratio is just a percentage of what I use, what can I do to extend my credit limit? Well, one, As I already explained, you can go through and ask for an extension through your current credit card. Or you could go out and get another credit card. Now, applying for a new credit card may have a temporary hit on your credit score. Whenever you apply for a new credit, it does either a soft or hard inquiry into your credit score, and it may take a month or two for that to come back up. But in reality, over time, that will level off, and you'll now have an extension in how much credit you have available to you. Okay, so let's flip this example around and say you had credit card debt and you worked very hard to pay off all this debt, and now you get to the end, you owe nothing on this credit card, and you think, great, let's close the account, that way I'm never tempted to spend the money. Well, if the credit card tempts you to spend the money, I would encourage you to just go ahead and close the account. But just keep in mind that when you close the account, it shrinks the available credit you have. So say you have 2 credit cards and each have a $5,000 credit limit. Combined, you have a $10,000 credit limit. But if you take one away and close the account, now your credit limit is down to $5,000. And depending on how much you use, that could really impact your credit utilization ratio. So if you have $10,000 today between the 2 cards and you use $1,000, that's a 10% utilization. But if you get rid of one of the cards, your utilization doubles to 20%. So overnight, you're doubling your utilization, but in reality, dollar for dollar, nothing changed. So that's just something to consider before you close your credit card account. And again, I want to emphasize, lead a financially healthy lifestyle and don't focus as much on the credit score. If having all those extra credit cards is really tempting, it's preferred that you get rid of the cards altogether rather than keeping them in the name of credit utilization ratio, but then you're tempted to spend all the money. Personally, I try keeping my utilization at around 10%, so I have enough credit cards out there that cover my monthly bills so that my bills only account for maybe 10% or around 10% of my total utilization. So I am all set, and I know that I'm optimizing my credit card limits in order to boost my credit score. So I hope this quick rundown of your credit utilization ratio helped you. I'm not sure if you've even heard of this before. Previously, I hadn't, and I was paying my bills in full every single month, thinking I was all set, only to realize that, hey, I'm using too much of my current available credit. I should increase my credit limit. Now, when it comes to your credit score, it's not 1 + 1 = 2. This is an algorithm that takes a lot of factors into account, so you may not see an increase right away. There may be other factors on your credit score that negatively impact your credit, and this boost may not be all that significant. So analyze your entire credit score, see areas that you can optimize, but when it comes to the amount of debt you owe in your revolving accounts, aka your credit cards, this is one way you can optimize those to boost your credit score. So I hope that this video gave you some insight into your credit utilization ratio and the impact that it can have on your credit score, and that once you break it down into plain English, it makes complete sense. And if you know how to play the system right by using less than 30% of your total available credit, you should be in the clear and you're optimized to boost your credit score, at least in this one area. I hope that you found this video helpful. If you did, I ask that you please like and subscribe.